Madness with
Deb.
and Dana.
Tonight
we're spooky.
It did a little bit.
I don't think it did.
Whatever. Tonight we are doing Pumpkinhead, starring Lance Henriksen and directed by Stan Winston.
Yeah, which is like the one of two times he directed something, and the other time was way worse. I think you could say that Pumpkinhead was a complete failure. Wasn't all Stan Winston's fault. Dino? Yeah, it was Dino. De Laurentiis.
Yes.
Was going out of business before Giada was ever born. It was her grandpa. The hottest cook chick that ever lived.
The hottest Food Network chef ever.
Hottest Food Network chef ever from Rome. So it was almost like a Giallo film.
I wouldn't call it that.
Like, it was almost, though, like if Dino wouldn't have gone out of business the exact time this film was being made.
It might be a Giallo film, yes.
Yeah, it would have had more ballet dancers and more of the color yellow. Giallo is Italian for the color yellow, and I'm probably saying that wrong.
Giallo. What's that, Giallo?
Well, I don't know. I'm not Italian.
Me either, so I'm probably saying it wrong,
You've been there. I haven't.
I have.
Yeah. Did you ask anybody?
No, I didn't.
If I ever go to Rome, I'm going to be like, hey, guys, you ever watch a horror film? Pronounce giallo for me. Which is just the color yellow. It's just yellow. Which is that's cool. It's great.
So, the film starts in 1957 with Little Ed, which I didn't realize until this watch, and we've watched this movie a lot.
Oh my God. Since the day we watched this movie to make this podcast, I have realized so many things that are insane because, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. This is my... I want to say it could be my first horror film I ever watched. And if not, it's one of the first. I'm talking, I was far too young of a child to have watched this movie age when I watched this movie. Deb, when's the first time you watched this movie?
3 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. Also, you're from the mountains and snow.
Yes.
And no one is from the country ass backwoods of Southeast America and also has a desert. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be in Appalachia.
I always got that feeling every time we've watched this movie that it's supposed to be from Appalachia, but it doesn't look like Appalachia.
One of the many things about this movie that I am upset that I never realized is that I thought it was just like a random hillbilly family, and on watch 200 I realized it was baby Ed Harley.
Yeah, Mom says Eddie, and that's little Ed, and then it kind of makes sense because it goes to the future and he's looking like he's remembering it, and that whole first scene is just Ed remembering watching Pumpkinhead murder people.
And he mentions that and stuff, but my whole life I was just like, I don't know what when did he see Pumpkinhead? Which could be attributed to the film not being the best film ever made. But also, it's not the best film ever made. But what it is a great film that I love, that I feel like everyone should love. And I think it's a shame that it's not way more popular than it is.
So, Pumpkinhead and Dude, the first dude killed, are running through the fields, and there's this scare. Yes, Clayton. And there's a scarecrow jump scare. It's like,
I missed
blah.
that. Did I miss that? I tried to keep track of jump scares.
There was a scarecrow jump scare right at the beginning, and there was like some intense sound effects that helped build the tension.
There was also like the worst on a loop thing of just Pumpkinhead like looking to the right like eight different times, that I was just like, man, you're gonna start your film like this. But props to showing the creature at the very beginning. There are definitely seasoned enough that they could just be like, look at our beautiful creation doing the same thing on loop. It's like it is very similar to Wonder Woman in Batman vs. Superman, the worst film ever made in the history of mankind, where they just show Wonder Woman on a loop like 9 times with that amazing song. And if you think Batman vs. Superman is a good film, ouch. I'm just going to give you an ouch rating.
So Clayton's knocking on the door.
Oh, yeah, Clayton. We're talking about Clayton. No.
All I can think of is the song, I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
So the real question is, if Clayton would have knocked on that door and been like, Martha, let me in.
Oh, my God. Seriously?
Would Ed Harley's dad have been like, oh, fuck me, my mom was also named Martha, and just like... let him in? Then Pumpkinhead would have been like, fuck me, my fucking mom's name was also Martha. And like Pumpkinhead would have just like left for no reason and been like, hey guys, we're all best friends and I'm a demon of vengeance and I'm just gonna like leave you guys alone because we're all have mothers named Martha. Fuck that movie.
All that being said, you can't interfere with revenge, and that is pounded into your head from the beginning of this movie.
He's the demon of revenge.
You can't interfere with revenge.
The non-final name of this movie was, what was it called?
The Demon of Vengeance.
Demon of Vengeance.
Demon of Vengeance.
Yeah, which was like clearly the pre-production title of the film.
So I don't know who Clayton killed, but little Ed witnessed the first Pumpkinhead that we see.
Yeah. Then
it zooms to the present where Lance Henriksen is looking sexy as fucking hell.
Oh. Lance Henriksen is looking great, and he's looking sexy, and he's looking young Lance Henriksen.
Oh, he is hot.
He's got a flamethrower on his back.
I don't think it's a flamethrower yet. It is pesticides or water. I don't know what it is the whole movie.
It's a big debate we've had, and we've watched everything that could answer this question. So shortly after this, like dad and son are on the porch and like squirting water at each other from a tank on wheels that doesn't seem to be the flamethrower, but it could be. So at best
it's water.
No, like it just can't be water. Why?
It's pesticide.
Why? They're not like watering plants.
No, he's spraying pesticides.
So like and they like have a like father-son moment where they're just like joking and laughing and throwing pesticide on each other. Which, like, you know, in the movie is completely glossed over. And, like, you're just like, oh, they're squirting some water out of a tank and throwing it on each other. But it seems to be the same tank that later in the movie is a flamethrower.
Yes, it is an all-purpose tank, apparently. He's watering plants, and little kid is spraying him with it. It's all-purpose.
At this point, like... why do you need a flamethrower in the middle of the desert? Or why are you trying to water plants in the middle of the desert on your porch for father and son to fucking laughingly throw pesticide in each other's face while laughing? Which is like, no one has ever addressed it.
So at that same time, there's this weird hand-washing conversation that comes up out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And the story is so beautiful.
It is. It's a great story.
The story that Lance tells in special features is he loved watching his grandmother wash his hands, and he tells it in the movie. And if you don't watch the special features, you're just like, why is this weird hand washing conversation coming up?
Character development, and you're learning how much he loves his son, which is like infinite amounts. And he's an Oscar-winning. He's freaking Lance Hendrickson, not Lance.
And I love how loving he is as a father, especially experiencing the brutality he did as a child.
Hey, yeah, he knew what he was getting himself into, and then he said fuck it, and then he said unfuck it, and that didn't work out well for him. But there are, like, Lance came into this movie being like, bruh, I'm acting. I'm in your stupid movie to act, and I'm gonna fucking act my heart out, and no one that ever watches this movie isn't gonna think I'm the most loving father that ever loved a child.
He acts his ass off in this movie.
Is this the time for my story?
Yeah, sure.
I think
this is a good time for the story.
So in the special features, you can hear a story that Lance tells about when he first got his, the first time he was offered Pumpkinhead. And we met Lance Hendrickson
this year.
This year?
This year.
Oh, early this year.
Early,
it was February, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, February this year. I met Lance, and he is the coolest elderly old man that has ever lived. Like, just straight up. Like, I smoked several cigarettes with him outside with people that had no clue who he was.
Last year.
Yeah, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I had smoked a couple cigarettes with Lance outside and just talked to him like a normal human and didn't be like, oh my God, you're Lance. And like, the other people were just like people that were at a hotel where a horror convention was happening, which was insane. Because I was sitting there, like, just trying to chill out. And, like, it was, like, 6 a.m. and shit. Like, it was, like, early morning. And, like, I was just, like, sitting out there, like, oh, my God. I'm sitting outside smoking a cigarette with Lance Hendrickson. And, like, there's these two other ladies who are just, like, at a hotel that they wish they wouldn't have booked. And they have no clue that they're sitting outside with Lance Hendrickson. So then I meet Lance. Autograph situation, you know.
Yeah.
So like I talked to him a bunch, but like I didn't to him even acknowledge that he was famous or I knew who he was, but like inside I was dying to death and texting Deb and being like, I just went downstairs and smoked a cigarette literally in the same bench as Lance Hendrickson and I'm dying. But like I didn't recognize him, you know, to him. I didn't be like, oh my God, you're Lance Hendrickson. So when I met him, I think he was a little bit more relaxed because like we had smoked a bunch of cigarettes together.
And he was like, oh, it's this dude.
Hey, yeah, like straight up. He was just like, oh, it's this dude that like I've seen the last 2 mornings of my life for like a long time, multiple times. And like, he didn't bother me, which all of you should figure out how to do. To meet famous people. That's what you do. Don't fanboy. Just be cool.
Just sit there. Be cool. Be cool.
Then you get to have all the great and amazing stories that me and Deb do. So, I get in line. We get in line to meet Lance. And I get up there to Lance, and I was like, he was like, hey, man, what's up? And I was like, what's up, dude? Because he clearly was like, oh, you're the dude who's been sitting by me every morning for several hours, and you've never bothered me. And I think that gave him a little sparkle in his eye. And I was like, Lance, man, I know you've done so much, and I love everything you've ever done, but Pumpkinhead is like one of my favorite movies of all time, no matter what. And Lance looked me in the eye. He did. He locked eyes. We're like, I'm shy. Like I tried to like pull away, and Lance was like, "Nah, bitch, you're looking me in the eye while I tell you this story." And what the story was essentially the exact same story that's in the special features of Pumpkinhead that was made, 15 years before. It was essentially word for word the exact same story. And you might say, well, I mean, like, yeah, he's a famous dude, and like he's just got his story memorized. But I got an extra piece of this story. I got an extra piece of this story that is not in that documentary, and I've never heard anywhere else. Looking hard, because I've been like, he clearly told other people. And I was like, Lance, man, I want you to sign this Pumpkinhead thing for me. I want you to give me a little Ed Harley signature. And Lance was like, yes, dude. Yes. You just spent like 2 days at that point, like not bugging the shit out of me. And I know I've seen you 100 times. What you got, bro? And I was like, I want you to sign this Pumpkinhead thing. And I was like, I don't try to ask people anything. Like, that's kind of a thing I do. I don't try to ask people anything. And like Lance was just like, what do you want to know? And I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, how did you get into Pumpkinhead? And Lance looked me dead in the eyeballs. And he was like, the first time they called me about the movie Pumpkinhead, they said, Lance, we got this movie Pumpkinhead. Are you going to be in it? And Lance looked me dead in the eyes and he said, I told him no. I don't want to be in a movie where I have a pumpkin on my head. That's ridiculous. I'm doing pretty good right now in my life. I don't wear a pumpkin on my head. And you want me to have a pumpkin on my head? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And he was like, and that was pretty much it. But like, holy God.
It was an amazing moment because the look on Lance's face
was so honest and so real. And he was just like,
I don't want to wear a pumpkin on my head.
Yeah. The whole convention, that was Mad Monster.
That was Mad Monster, yeah.
That was Mad Monster year before last?
2023.
Everybody go to Mad Monster. You've always got an opportunity to have an elderly Lance Hendrickson just be like, yeah, bro, I didn't want a pumpkin on my head. Looking you dead in your eyeballs. And then regurgitate his scripted thing. But I got that special moment.
That special moment
that I've never heard anywhere and might not exist anywhere else. Lance Hendrickson is a fucking gem of a human being.
He's amazing.
I seriously doubt he's ever had a bad interaction with anyone ever. Like Lance Hendrickson, if you can meet him, go
do
meet
it.
him. He is amazing. He's a beautiful, great, elderly old man.
Not at all like those assholes driving the car. I hate all of them. They're just talking in the car and I hate them.
City people.
I hate them all. And then they show this like beautiful little like leaving hope sign on the side of the vegetable stand ?
That's later in the movie. So, it is... It's a general store.
It's a general store.
It's a general store that has a sign that says Leaving Hope that I think is one of my favorite little things.
It is.
And the special features later that I was going to get to at some point.
Yeah, but I have it in my movie notes because I noticed it.
I have it in mine too. And I was just like, oh, like... impactful. And the lady who decided to put that in the movie is in the special features.
Yes, she is.
And she was like, we didn't want to draw too much attention to it. We just wanted it to be a little background nugget.
And it's kind of a huge impact.
Like, even that young, I was just like at this time, in this moment in my childhood, I was just like, people don't dirt bike like that. Why do they?
Oh, they dirt bike.
They got a
hard.
troop of dirt bikers and a photographer with them? Like, what is happening? That's not a thing. She did, and how hard she worked on recreating that general.
Those douchebags driving the car.
We ain't even gotten that far.
I hate all of them.
You mean the professional
BMX?
No.
Dirt bikers?
Dirt bikers with a photographer following them around? I was a young child when this movie came out, and dirt bikes were real popular. Like, people love dirt bikes, but I don't think they were just dirt bikers renting cabins in the desert of Appalachia. In the desert of Appalachia. With photographers and stuff. But this guy, drunken dirt bikes, and fucking runs over people like every 2 days of his life.
Seriously.
This is like a common occurrence for him to get drunk, dirt bike, and run over people.
I just got a DUI for hitting somebody.
Dirt bikes are small.
Yeah.
They're like, do you know how hard it... Deb, if I jumped over, if I was like, I'm going to be a dirt biker and go jump this hill, and I had a photographer filming me, and there were 10,000 people watching me jump that hill, you know how hard it would be for me to actually hit one of them, and none of them to just be like, oh, fuck me, there's a dirt bike heading right for me, I'm going to step half an inch out of the way?
The whole situation, he's a little kid, he didn't know.
I mean, fair, and he came over a blind hill, but I'm just saying, like, to do it twice.
Yes, within like weeks of each other. He's like, that just happened.
To do it twice. Like, one time, yeah, you come over a blind dirt bike hill drunk and you fucking accidentally clip someone. Also, he just clipped Billy.
It was a light tap.
It was the lightest tap ever. I would be willing to say I will stand in front of a hill and let you run into me head on a little, like a 250cc at best dirt bike. You can run your dirt bike into my face. I'll have to go to the hospital and I'll have injuries. But I think dying from somebody just like slightly tapping you with a dirt bike.
He didn't even die right then. It was like 20 minutes later.
Oh my God, that's a thing. That's a thing. So I feel like the first 60 times I watched this movie, I thought he was dead the whole time. And then so we're talking, I'm an old man. We're talking old shit. So we're talking low quality, low sound quality, low everything quality. And I distinctively remember being a child and being like, if a kid's breathing, why isn't he talking? Like, he's clearly not dead.
He wasn't.
And then, even as a child, being like, okay, this is a B movie, which it isn't really. It's kind of a high-budget movie that has a history of getting fucked, so it didn't get to be as high as it should have been.
So Ed is such a good guy. Why does he leave his kid with those assholes?
He doesn't. He's such a good guy, and he's running a business, and he's running a store, and that's how it worked back then. I know. My parents needed to bring feed to someone. They would have just left me and brought feed to them. I didn't expect city folk that are driving dirt bikes
to kill me, to
run
kill
over
you.
me.
Yeah.
And like, I think my parents in that same situation would have been like, how'd you get injured by a dirt bike? Like, what could have happened with a dirt bike to make you not quite dead right now?
And then they ask him, are you all right? Kid is half dead. Are you all right? No, you just ran me over.
For 20 years of watching this movie, I thought he was dead. And it was just like a shitty thing that you can see him blink sometimes and breathe sometimes because he never says a word.
Yeah, he doesn't.
I thought it was just like a crappy...
Bad acting.
I thought it was just a poorly made movie that he wasn't dead because, like, if I get tapped by a dirt bike to the point that I'm going to die, I'm going to be like, oh my God, this hurts so much. So...
And nobody ever called for help. Nobody went back to the store and dialed a phone.
Tip, they're in the desert outside of the Appalachian Mountains.
Nobody ever calls the cops, calls an ambulance, calls anyone. Nobody.
It's the early 80s.
There's still 911 in the early 80s.
Yeah, but they don't have cell phones.
No, they run back to the store. He carries his kid back to the store, and he's like, nah, I'm gonna go get Pumpkinhead. Fuck the police. So they go to take the feed, and he's looking for this old woman. He's talking to Mr. Wallace, and he's like, all she can do is take you straight to hell.
All she can do. She can't bring your boy back. So, they get to the cabin. We're at the cabin that was apparently in Friday the 13th, Part 4.
Yeah, I did not realize that until today.
The same cabin from Friday the 13th, Part 4 that is in California.
Okay, so that kid, Bunt, knows where to find haggis? How does Bunt know where to find haggis?
Because he's heard stories in the Appalachian Mountains
right
outside
so
the desert.
Ed has seen Pumpkinhead. How did he not know where to find haggis?
Ed has lived a whole life and had a child with a wife that died and that, like, isn't even mentioned. And, like,
yeah.
I don't know what happened to Madam Harley.
Madam Harley.
And any special features or commentaries or anything is like, oh yeah, like Ed Harley's wife died of this. No.
Oh no, it's crazy.
Dead. Don't worry about it. That's not a consideration anyone ever made while making this movie. She's just dead or something. I mean, she also could have like left him to move to L.A.
Yeah.
And become an actress, and maybe Deborah. What if Ed Harley's wife is Maxine?
Oh my God.
She left Ed Harley to make pornographic films after having her first child.
Oh, that is...
What if?
That is a wild what if. So, kid jumps in the car with him, and then he just leaves him on the side of the road. Don't know how that kid gets home. Don't know how far Haggis is. She can't be that far, but apparently she's very far.
I feel like she's very far away. I feel like she is like hours away. But it's just like, yeah, just like drop me off here. I'm going to walk 3 days to get back home. Like if it was close, Bunt would have just been like, get out of your truck. I'll walk you over there. But no, they like drive for an undisclosed amount of time. That like why so that's the thing, right?
Everything in this movie.
Ed Harley does know a lot about Pumpkinhead, but he doesn't know where Haggis lives. So Haggis has to be like 100 miles away.
And that other cabin was 50 miles away, but they all just run from cabin to cabin. It is insane.
Like, everything should be within, like, a mile or two of each other. But, like, they literally say the cabin's another 50 miles away.
I don't understand time in this movie.
Maybe Haggis is 49 miles towards the cabin?
Yeah, no, because they just run to her house.
And Bunch just like, I'm going to get an Uber back. Don't worry about me. Like 49 miles is like long.
It does, the distance in this movie doesn't ever make sense. But
I mean, also, sometimes they're in the desert, sometimes they're in the Appalachian Mountains, which are thousands of miles from each other. So
they find haggis.
Haggis, what a name!
It's a food.
It is,
Haggis.
but like no one's ever been named Haggis.
But I do want to live in that cabin. I love her witch cabin.
It's beautiful, and then the special features, like the things they did to make cabin.
I want to live in that witch cabin so bad.
It was a regular cabin with a 2x4 bridge, and like the set crew and stuff did a lot of work and did a lot of moving trees
and yeah, it's awesome.
Make that cabin happen for the movie that no one's ever seen somehow. So go watch fucking Pumpkinhead.
Go watch Pumpkinhead, please.
See some non-CGI shit that people like bled to the bone to make beautiful.
And it is.
And it is. It is fucking beautiful. And the whole cabin, the set designer chick was just like, I don't know what anything is in life, which always bothers me. Like, hire somebody that knows what anything is, and
she did a beautiful job. She did.
It's beautiful and great, and she was just like, I don't know, I just put things in there that creeped me out and stuff. Like, hire somebody that knows what a witch cabin's supposed to look like.
She did a good job for not knowing what a witch cabin was supposed to look like. I want to live in that cabin.
But imagine how cool it would have been if, like, they would have hired a witch that knows what a witch cabin should look like. But why was there
did she have a pet owl? There was an owl in that house.
She had a lot of creatures.
Also, I want to know how old she is.
1 billion.
How old is Haggis? Because
Infinite.
Those effects on her are goddamn beautiful.
So, the actress, we saw an interview with her that was not that long. It was shortly before she passed away.
Yes.
And she didn't look that old in that was like 30 years after this movie was made.
Oh,
she was a young...
The details.
Yeah, she was young, and those special effects are Stan Winston.
Yeah, no, the special effects on Haggis are beautiful.
Alright, so that was the whole point of making this podcast, and the whole point of me being like, this was one of my first horror movies. I lived in the middle of the woods. Miles from help when I first saw this movie. And my mom was a little bit of a hillbilly witch, and like I had a lot of hillbilly stuff in my life, and hillbilly witchcraft and stuff was like part of my life growing up. Wasn't a big part of my life, but like it was always there in the background. And then I saw this and Haggis, like summoning Pumpkinhead, and I spent years of my life just being like, hey, well, I can't leave my house because Haggis is out there and she's gonna fucking call Pumpkinhead or something similar.
The effects on Haggis were amazing. And everything I put in my notes is addressed in the special features, and that's why I'm struggling. Like, I'm like, oh, his life savings is in a sock. Lance Henriksen actually went out and found coins and stuff to put in that sock to be his life savings, and wow.
Yeah, no, but like and also like the actual actor like went and bought silver coins from pawn shops and stuff.
And
and even says in the special features that like a bunch of them fell through cracks, and wherever they filmed it at, they're probably still there. So if you want them, you can go get them, which I don't completely believe, because I think that cabin is in Oregon and was used in Friday the 13th and other movies after that, probably.
He buys his revenge with what's in the sock. And she says revenge is a powerful price. And they go to this old graveyard deep in the woods.
That is modeled after a native burial ground.
Yes, and it's I thought they buried people, but there's just people laying around. But she says in the note, in the special features, she modeled it after above ground cemeteries and native burial grounds.
Native burial mounds. So like I feel some ways about it, but like also like for a cinematic movie that's like a decent movie, it's like this weird little pillar with like bones sticking out and stuff, and like I get it. It looks amazing. It looks beautiful, and I think an actual like correct representation of a native mound would have not been anywhere near as cool than like Ed would have just like walked up it, and I had to climb and hold bones and stuff. Like it's cool for a movie.
The score and the ambiance in this part is super amazing.
Oh, the music is.
It is perfect.
If you watch that. The anything DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, you get that little bluegrass country song playing. That is a banging ass song. Like I'm not a country fan. Like I can respect bluegrass. It's one of the most talented, musically genres of music that have ever existed. But like I'm not a country music fan, but regardless, the Pumpkinhead song, the song they want you to hear, they want you to think of as Pumpkinhead when you're looking at the menus, is fucking banging.
Yeah, it is.
I wish we could play it.
We can't. So he's on the burial mound. Why does he have a shovel and start digging with his hands?
Oh, yeah, like he's fully equipped.
Like dig with a shovel.
Dig up a dead body, and he's just like, yeah, fuck the shovel.
Fuck this, I'm going to use my fucking hands?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like that's something I would have done in real life. Like, if I was summoning Pumpkinhead, and they were like, you gotta go to this weird column of death in the middle of a pumpkin patch that looks amazing, that's covered in fog, that's clearly on a sound stage, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna do this shit right. I'm gonna bring my
hands.
I'm gonna bring my shovel.
He brought his shovel and then he dug with his hands.
Climbing up, he was probably like, how deep can this be? Like, I can see the bottom of this weird little pillar. It's like not that far down.
I'd still use a shovel.
But the dirt was loose. I'm from Georgia, so I'm going to bring a shovel because, like, you ain't digging through anything in Georgia.
Red
clay. Like, that is going to take you weeks.
Exactly.
But, like, Ed Harley was like,
I got this with my hands.
1 second ago, I lived in the desert, and now I'm in the southeastern Appalachian Mountains.
So we haven't addressed the kids a lot.
No one has even gotten killed yet, Deb.
Billy?
Deb tried to tell me a minute ago that we were like halfway through, and right now I just realized literally no one has died.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm pushing.
It also gets real boring once people start dying.
Ed and Haggis summon Pumpkinhead, and Pumpkinhead is such a cute baby.
Ed is like, I will go to hell, and I will sacrifice my existence to the fucking Satans, the fucking revenge my fucking child. And like less than 3 minutes later, he's like, I'm gonna save them all. I made a bad mistake.
I know, it's wild. Pumpkinhead is born out of his need for revenge.
Pumpkinhead is born into Sam from Trick or Treat.
Yes.
That first little moment is literally Sam from Trick or Treat, and Sam from Trick or Treat was literally also made by Stan Winston Studios, so like it's not even like, I had to look it up. I had to look into it deep, and like nobody actually says Like, no, it's just straight up stolen. But to be fair, literally, that moment of
No baby.
that moment of Pumpkinhead's birth that looks exactly like Sam from Trick or Treat was made by the people that made Pumpkinhead look like that, and like they don't talk about that. We're not into the alien shit yet.
Yeah,
so.
we're getting there. Then we go on, and Pumpkinhead snatches up his first kill, Steve.
Wow, that was a bit of a fucking jump there, Deb.
Pumpkinhead was born, and Pumpkinhead snatches up
He's
Steve.
just like murdering Steve out the gate, which
Yeah.
like he is.
Yes,
that's
yes.
a fact, but like
that just happens that way.
there are moments of Sam from Trick or Treat being born, and like Haggis says all of her best.
What
lines.
you asked has got a powerful price, Ed Harley.
That's one. And I would also like to forever just say Ed Harley.
Ed Harley.
Ed Harley.
I love the way Haggis says Ed
Oh,
Harley.
she's so fucking great.
Haggis is amazing in this movie.
All the fucking asshole city folk aren't bad.
So the kids are just kids that die. I don't even give a fuck about them. I just care about Ed Harley.
Do you mean Jacob and Chad and Samantha and Beth?
You're just making up names.
I'm just making those up because their names don't fucking matter.
They don't matter in this movie. No offense.
So in the special features, it mentions that there was a scene where it tried to actually like give them character development, and it was forcefully removed from the movie because you don't need character development.
No.
They're just asshole fucking kids that are
They're
locked in a fucking
asshole kids.
closet.
The only character development that matters is Ed's, which there's a lot of.
So we're at the point. We're at the point. From this point on, all the good shit, all the good movie shit. This is a underrated, decent to great movie. And everyone should watch this movie, and it's a crime that no one's seen this movie. It's not a super B movie. It is a very good movie.
It is a very good movie with great effects and a great score and great acting. It's not a B movie at all.
Pretty much from this point on is everyone getting murdered.
Everybody gets killed.
Yeah, like, he's the demon of vengeance. He's one by one killing them. He's getting pleasure out of it. He has fine motor skill.
And dropped Steve off right at the front door and snatched up Maggie.
Also, Steve did nothing wrong.
Steve did nothing wrong. No, Steve, poor Steve.
But, like, also, like, I think Ed's fucking magical spell was just kill everyone involved in my child's death.
Yes, it was.
So, like, he doesn't really deserve to die, but whether it's his brother or his best friend or whatever the minor character development that doesn't really happen in this movie.
Only character development in this movie is Ed.
Well, so they give the kids. I mean, it's mostly just what's his name, Jacob. They just want to develop that Jacob's a piece of shit, but like also Joel is a piece of shit.
Joel is such a piece of shit.
That's most 99.9 of the percent of the character development is just like Joel's a piece of shit. But then like he's also like the last one to die, even though but because Pumpkinhead's a demon and he likes to play with people and be an alien.
Also, it's crazy that Pumpkinhead makes his first kill before Ed even leaves Haggis. He hasn't even left the cabin yet. He is melting down on the floor, and she says, "It will pass, let it finish." And that's when he starts to feel remorse. He hasn't even... Pumpkinhead, they resurrect Pumpkinhead. He makes his first kill before Ed leaves the cabin. And he can see every kill and feel every kill.
And then he just All right. So.
And revenge hurts. That is the lesson of this movie. Revenge fucking hurts.
The lesson of this movie is that
don't be a dick.
Everyone that worked on this movie worked on the movie Aliens, and pitched this movie as aliens on Earth. And then the De Laurentiis company went out of business, and that's why no one's ever seen this movie.
It is.
It's not a big budget movie, but it's not a B movie. It's not a low budget movie. The creature
effects in this movie are fucking killer.
Yeah, no, this could have been.
The shots are beautiful. Pumpkinhead is fucking killer.
Could it have been a better movie? I'm not even sure that this movie could be. It is
an amazing movie
that is just, hey, everyone that made Aliens, we're gonna make a movie that's not Aliens. And they were like, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a brown alien instead of a black alien. And they're gonna be identical and exude the exact same amount of slime and do everything that the other one would do, but it's not an alien movie.
Also, from the first kill to the last kill is kind of short.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Like, the lead up, the beginning of this movie is like the best. Act 1 is unbelievable with the acting and the lance.
Yeah.
And the, emotional.
Once the killing starts, it is kill after kill after kill.
Yeah, once not downplaying the kills, there are great kills, but...
There's great kills, and there's beautiful shots. Pumpkinhead in the church.
Oh, my God. The whole church thing is filmed so perfectly and beautifully.
It's so beautiful. Pumpkinhead in the outline of the door of the church, and with the cross, it's all...
And the whole thing with Pumpkinhead going after Bunt, which is multiple times said that if you get in the way of Pumpkinhead's mission, that you're going to get killed too. Bunt is in the way.
Always. Don't try to save him. And that's what they told little Ed at the beginning. That's what Bunt's parents told him. Like, don't get involved. That's why nobody will answer the door.
I mean, I wouldn't even consider if I had any knowledge of this legend and some shit went down where I was like, oh, fuck me, this is happening. I would just sing the Misfit song.
Yes.
At the person on the other side of the door. I would just like blast the Misfit song from my entire house and just be like, nah, bitch, there's like the Misfits made a song about Pumpkinhead. You're not fucking go away.
Go away.
Go away.
This movie is full of beautiful shots, a beautiful score, beautiful creature effects. This movie, it's not a B movie. You keep calling it a B movie. It's not.
So it is considered a B movie because of Dino De Laurentiis fucking up the existence of this movie.
Yeah.
If he wouldn't have been going out of business as this movie was made, and if that wouldn't have happened, this would have been, it would have been up there with Freddy's and Jason's and shit, and not been a movie no one's ever seen.
And everything is amazing.
It is this obvious, greatest real special effects that were ever made, ever, that weren't ever made again, and then, like, everyone that was involved with this movie when part 2 and 3 and 4 and 16 came out were like, we couldn't look at it because, like, we made a movie.
They did, and then
it got screwed by dumb bullshit and B-movie copies on the Sci-Fi Channel. There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff about this movie, and I want people to go see it.
Yes. Please watch this movie.
How great this movie actually is.
It is an underrated gem.
I think it might be the most underrated horror movie ever made. I love the shittiest of shitty horror movies, and I will call the shittiest of fucking no one knew what they were doing horror movies fun, and I enjoyed it.
This is just a good movie.
This is actually like a decent budget, really great movie.
If you haven't watched Pumpkinhead, watch fucking Pumpkinhead, please.
Watch Pumpkinhead.
But Pumpkinhead is amazing. We could go into a million things about the special features and Haggis's costume weighing 65 pounds and the makeup involved.
Yeah.
There's so much. It's a beautiful fucking movie.
I think that's going to be my catchphrase. And it's genderless and loving. I love you, motherfuckers. And fuck you, motherfuckers. All right, we're out.
Have a good night.
Bye.